All right. Good morning, everybody. We are day 16 into the month. We're almost there. So just take a little by little. We're slowly but surely getting back to normal, hopefully. Um, in any case, let's get on to conversation here. So, quick disclaimer: this is a conversation between me and Mike. Everything we say here is for entertainment purposes only, and whatever we say that you deem is worth, taking up on any kind of advice, feel free to do so. Otherwise, just let it go. Take everything with a grain of salt, and that's it.
All right, everybody. Good morning. This is Michael. The topics for today include on personal development, how to find good friends or people to surround yourself with. I think this week we've been talking about, friends in your circle a lot, so it makes sense to put it right there. Fitness, rule of two progression procedure, finance, should you go into debt, and what kind of debt, I guess. Some news updates, and during that podcast, we will bring some secret topic that I'm not going to read it through right now, but just stay tuned to find out. It's an interesting one as well. All right,
Yes,
so let's jump right into it. How do you find good friends, Randy, or people that you surround with?
Shit. I don't know if there's any particularly good way to find them, simply because you don't know where you're going to find them. That's the thing. It's not ever going to be it's never going to be in a really specific location or in a really specific place. So it's less about where you find them and more about the vetting process, how you go about seeing if they're good people, seeing if they're good friends. Because you never know. You can meet somebody at a party, right? You think that'd be an unlikely place to find a good friend. But if over time you end up developing a good relationship and you see that this person is reliable, they're consistent, you know that when they give you advice or when you ask for their opinion, they always do their best to make sure that they put you in the right direction or as best as they can. Absolutely. So I would say it doesn't really matter where, but it matters how you go about seeing if they're good people or good friends.
I definitely agree with that. Like I mentioned before, I do have like a open, like halfway open policy, door open policy. So I usually don't, usually cut off people like right away as I meet them. And also I don't look for them or like, depending on the place that I go, I'll be like, oh, I gotta find a friend. Nah, they just come, like, to be honest. And they're probably gonna come on the most unexpected ways as well. And definitely it is how you get to know them, because once you get to know this person, that's the point that you want to make the decisions whether you want to keep them around or you just want to keep them as acquaintances or just somebody that you know. But it's very important that as the friendship starts growing, you are honest to each other. And same as Brandy mentioned, you gotta support in some way and give value to the person as well as receive value. Because if there's one end giving too much value, or somebody taking too much value of the other person, then it's just already toxic. It's already a toxic friendship. So be careful with those. But like I said, there's not a good way to explain how you find good friends. I'm very fortunate. Like I'm surrounding myself with good people, and I'm very grateful for that. Rand is one of them. He's actually one of my closest friends, and I don't discriminate depending on the drama that some people might bring. I just see whether or not this friendship is gonna, be in the long term. It's kind of like a relationship, kind of like a girl. Like
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's almost like dating.
Yeah.
So like, where's the distinction between like finding somebody you want to date and finding a friend?
I mean, somebody that you're dating,
obviously the sexual part.
It is your friend. Yeah, she's gonna be your best friend. She better be your best friend. Also, what the fuck you dating her? But yeah. And then regarding the people who you surround with, it's very important that you kind of know how to adapt on the situation that you are. For example, let's say you are meeting with somebody that can help you with your career. Now, you don't want to keep it like, like me and Randy, we just fuck around like all the time. We just like talking shit. Right. You got to be more professional. You got to be more professional and know your place and where you are, because there are times to have fun, but there are also times to be serious. And depending on that, like the circle that you can attract or the people that you attract, they're gonna be good for you. You gotta know how to differentiate on that aspect as well.
So you know what I was thinking? Maybe because I mean, what we're saying is all well and fine, but like I feel like we're missing a component in terms of like how to vet if somebody's a good friend. So one of the things, like just like a tactic or some sort of thing that you could use to see if this person is a really somebody you can rely on, is to put them in a situation where they can take advantage of you, or like they can do you harm because of whatever their standing or wherever you put them. So hypothetically, let's say you lend them money, right? And at this point, you're going to see if this person, like, you told them, hold on to this money for a month for me, right? Obviously, you can do this with other things. It doesn't just have to be money, but money is usually like the first thing that most people, they hold a really strong attachment to. So you tell them, hold this money for me. And then hypothetically, let's say you forget about it, or you don't actually forget about it, but you just, instead of it being a month, you let it go on for maybe another 2 months. So in 3 months, you remind them, hey, can I get my money back? And all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, yeah, no problem here. They give you money right on the spot, or they start coming up with some sort of excuse like, oh, I thought you forgot about it. Maybe can you give me some time so I can get the money back because I spent it, or whatever the case might be. I feel like that's a good way to kind of gauge if somebody is actually,
honest,
not only a good friend, but just somebody that can, have some sort of self-control and not just be spending money like crazy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of like a shit test, pretty much. You're just saying like shit test.
Pretty much. Yes.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it. For me, honestly, I don't. Let's see. No, I think I'm very good judge of character when it comes to people. So I never had that issue that I had to go to the extreme to shit test somebody. I know instantly, and like there's some people that owe me money because of things like that. Because I thought they're gonna pay me back, and I'm not the type of person that I'm gonna be on your ass like asking you for the money back. It's whether or not you give me back the money. I know that you're honest. I know that you are a good friend because I lend you some money and you consciously, you owe me the money, you're going to come to me and pay me back. Other than that, if that person doesn't do that, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be on like, on like
back of your mind.
It's always going to be on the back of my head. And whether or not like this person later on in 10 years, he comes for help, I will know the sort of people that I'm dealing with. But do I want the money back? I don't really care about it. Like, I gave you the money back then because you needed it and I was being a good friend. But if you don't pay me back, like it's being if this person listens to it, he's gonna know. But if you haven't paid me back in this almost 2 or 3 years, I already know the type of people that you are. And even if it's like $5 or like $10, this is actually a big amount. But do I need the money? I don't need the money, bro. You can go do whatever with it. I already know the type of person that you are, and I don't want to deal with you anymore. So that's what I know. Actually, this it's kind of like what you're saying, but I don't do this often because I'm very like really good judge of character when it comes to people that I surround myself with. Like I instantly know, like I'm like in like it's kind of like my sixth sense. I'm like, this is a good person. Or it's just like the way that you carry yourself, or like if you're confident or not. Or regardless of your confidence, it's more like I don't know. It's just the energy that you bring to the table. You know what I mean?
Like you're speaking there about integrity, right? So like you have to remind this person that they owe you money. And right then and there, you already know they don't really have that much integrity because they would know that they owe you money and they should pay that back. Because you don't know, they don't know if you need that money. You did it as a favor, and all of a sudden now it's a difficult thing for them to pay you back. So I feel like that's a really good opportunity to see what somebody's true colors are. But there's definitely other things that you could do.
Yeah, but that definitely, like I said, usually like when it comes to people that you surround with or that you meet, in my opinion, like the sort of character they are. It's just by the way they speak. I don't know. That's me personally. I've been really good at like judging people, not judging. That's not bad, but like judging the character of the people just by the way they talk or the way they carry themselves. So like if they're kind of like iffy, like you already know they're gonna be kind of like,
Problematic with things like that. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
But like, listen, it doesn't even have to be in that way either. Like, there's other people that they'll pay you back right away, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good people too, or they have good integrity either. Money is just a way to. It's one of the easiest ways to see it, but there's other ways.
Absolutely.
Can't really think of any other examples that we could use, but in any case, there's definitely a lot of different ways that people can betray you, or you can misplace your trust in people that you thought were solid.
Mm-hmm.
And people change. Maybe this person was somebody you could rely on initially, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
over time they end up changing. And that's life, man. And when situations like that happen, you just got to be able to move on, move forward. And if you have to drop that person, drop them and find new people, or whatever the case might be, just keep them at a distance, because you don't have to like drop off everybody, but sometimes you have to distance yourself just because you know that this person has changed. They're not the same person that they used to be, and now maybe moving forward they might be able to harm you in some way, whether that be financially, physically, emotionally. So yeah.
Another way I was thinking is like rumors. Maybe you tell them a secret, and if you start finding from other people's,
Yeah,
wow,
that's a really good one.
yeah, then you know that person kind of like lost your trust. Like this secret could be something like it was made up for you that you only told that person, but you start
Right.
hearing it around, and you already know. But yeah, I definitely agree with Randy. Friends come and go. People that you surround with is very important at the end of the day because, as we mentioned yesterday, the 5 people that you surround with, you become the sixth. And there's something that we talk about this, I think, um, not on the podcast, but before, is that there's going to be a balance on that as well. So there's going
Mm-hmm.
to be, let's say, 2 people that you are going to look up to. Like, let's say 2 people that are very successful in the aspects that you want to be successful on, like maybe financially, maybe like on the fitness aspect, but they're going to be successful and you're going to look up to them and look up at their habits, right? And there's going to be maybe 3 or 2 uh, that are not inferior to you, but kind of they
Your
look up to you,
peers. Their peers.
or their peers. Yeah, they're at the same level, or maybe they need your help rather than you needing help. So there's always going to be a value. There's always that. Don't surround yourself only with successful people because you need to humble yourself, and you also need to be a teacher in this life, and teacher and also a team player. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important when you kind of looking around, looking the circle that you're surrounded with, that you have diversity as well. So it's kind of like a portfolio. You need a diverse portfolio in order to grow. So we can always, like I said, all these things are transferable in life, which is crazy, but that's what it is, and that's how it is. That's how it works. And
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to drop a friend if it's toxic, because
Right.
trust me, it's gonna be a weight that you wanna take it out of your shoulders, like that
Mm-hmm.
for moving forward. Because as
Sure.
you grow older, you realize your circle becomes smaller and smaller, more
And
focused.
that's for a reason, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the it's not the quantity, it's the quality,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's it. So in conclusion, there's no specific place you're going to find your like good friends or good people. They're everywhere,
Yep.
and simultaneously they can be nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really about you going through the process of seeing what kind of person that they are. You can use some of the things that we've talked about here, but in general, it's just a feeling, right? It's this vibe that you guys get, like, hey, I know that this person is a good person. I Oh, here's another thing, right? If you're out and about and the person goes out of the way to help other people while you guys are together, right? So
Yeah.
like maybe there's a homeless person out there, or maybe they like you go out for dinner and the way they treat the server or the waiter, right? You
Mm-hmm.
see that they treat the waiter like shit. That's another opportunity. You
Yeah.
see right there the integrity of the person. So there's a lot of little things you kind of just got to keep an eye out, and just see what kind of person they end up becoming over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
And that's
sure.
it.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. And don't, think about it like you're finding like a, because like when it comes to like dating, that can be applied as well. Like you don't go out there unless you're doing game, but game is different. You don't go out there looking for the girl. They just come to you. And friends are gonna be like that too. They're gonna come to you if they're meant to be in your life. If they're not, then no, there's nothing to do. The less friends, the better. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah,
it's good.
less stress, less worries, and
Yeah,
you can build a stronger relationship with one person than you can with 5 different people.
absolutely. I mean,
That's it.
don't get confused between friends and acquaintances. They're completely different things. Acquaintances is people that you know of, or you know about, or you know somebody. But friends are going to be friends that you tell them something like, "Oh, I'm planning to do this. I'm planning without, oh, like I did this. I did committed this mistake," and you don't feel that that you're going to be judged and you're going to be criticized harsh. Maybe you're going to get criticized, but you're going to be constructive criticism. But
Mhm.
acquaintances, you're the one that got them and tell them about your business. Acquaintances, you just want to keep them around just in case they bring some networking. Maybe they know of somebody that you wanna start talking to, or maybe they're friends with the girl that you like. So that's the
Always
difference
good.
between acquaintances and friends.
Hmm.
So don't get confused that just because you have a bigger like a big circle or a big network, all of them are gonna be your friends. They're not. Honestly, they're not. They're
No,
just acquaintances. So cool.
and if it comes off a little weird, like you're trying to force relationships too, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
want to be diligent about like, listen, if this relationship is meant to be, we can be friends, but don't try to force that narrative because then it's fake.
Yeah.
You're faking it. And when
Same
you
thing
come,
as same thing
yeah,
like with girls. You don't
mm-hmm,
chase. You don't chase girls, nor you should chase friends. Why would you chase friends?
yeah,
Yeah,
the more organic, the better off you are.
absolutely. Cool, cool, cool. All
All
right.
right.
Let's move on. We're spending some time on this one. Let's do the secret topic really quick.
Mhm.
What is the secret topic for the day? It's about.
So,
Hold on, let me open. Is playing chess on the phone too easy versus playing in real life? I wouldn't say
hmm,
it's too easy. I would say it is less enjoyable than playing in
really?
real life. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I started off learning on the phone. That's probably why I have a preference for it.
Mhm.
But I would say it's a little bit easier to play on the phone just simply because the game or the way the thing is structured, like you can move your pieces, right? But at a certain point, there's a limitation, and the
Mhm.
game will generate that limitation for you. When you're playing on a chessboard, you don't really know, so you're kind of just going to make mistakes, and you know,
Pay for
on
that.
the yeah. So I would say it's a little easier on the phone or a game on the phone as opposed to in real life, but I feel like there's value just simply because you can't always
Practice.
play chess in real life.
Right. Um. No, definitely. I don't play chess too much on my phone. I should actually, but I do enjoy playing with persons more than
Mm-hmm.
with a machine. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's hard to know um how difficult the game is going to be when you're playing 1-to-1 rather than you setting the limitations to easy, to medium, or to hard on the computer, on the phone. I mean, so yeah, I guess it is easier,
But I
but
do find it fun. I mean, I like playing chess. I picked it up
Mhm.
very like over a year, under a little over a year ago. Uh, had my girlfriend teach me, which was actually interesting, right? I feel like I should have learned that a long time ago, but I just never
Yeah, that's
put
really
in the
cool.
effort. So that was cool that I ended up learning from that. And then, I kind of just picked it up and little by little, I just kept phone games on my own. Like I would spend 10, 15 minutes every day before class just playing. And it was fun. And, with chess, it has a lot of, it applies a lot to different aspects in terms of solving problems. Um,
Thinking thick, thinking quick.
yeah, you have to be really
I
quick
just
thinking.
said thinking quick. I said quick and think. I
That's a
have
new
to
one.
listen to this. All right,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
So
cool.
yeah, I would say it's cool.
It
Definitely, you can
is
try both of them and see which one you like better.
definitely. That's cool though. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, chess is transferable in a lot of aspects of your life, especially like when it comes to critical thinking in planning like ahead, because you should know at least 2 or 3 steps what are you going to do after you move the piece right there. One thing
Hmm.
that I always like about chess, um, I don't know if I watched a video read about it because I read a book about chess when I was like in 8th grade or 10th or 7th grade. Well, back in Ecuador. and it said something about like every move should have a purpose, and that's pretty much what life is. Like every move that you're making should be towards your purpose or have a purpose, have a meaning.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. On finance, fitness, we have rule of two progression procedure. I have
All
no
right.
clue what that is, bro.
Now that's where I pulled up definition right here. So this is something that I learned in school and kind of tweaked it a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to understand. So this is more going towards strength training and cardio in terms of how to progress once you hit like a plateau or you need to improve in some sort of way. How do you go about doing that? Because oftentimes, especially with your lifting, you can try to like increase your weight. Let's say you're squatting, you get to this point where you're doing 5 sets of 5 at this weight, and then you try to implement more weight, but then all of a sudden you can't really do that 5 by 5 anymore. So how do you find that that balance of not going too far, increasing the weight, but not going too low either? So in terms of the strength training, I have here, if you can add 2 more reps to the last set of a strength training routine. So hypothetically, let's say you're doing 3 sets of 12, right? And on the last set, the third set, you can do 14 reps still. So on the last set, you have strength training routine. You can, on 2 separate workout. Oh, sorry. Reflect this. If you can add 2 more reps to the last set of the strength training routine on 2 separate workout days of the same exercise, you should increase the weight depending on the position. On the upper body, you can do 5 to 10 pounds. And for the lower body, you should do 10 to 15 pounds. So in layman's terms, if on 2 separate days, you can do the same exercise, 3 by 12, and you can do 2 more reps on the last set, then you should increase the weight. But only after you do it consecutively, back to back. If you can do it on, like, say, on Monday, you did 3 sets of 12, and on the last set, you can hit 14 reps, great. If you can do it again on Wednesday or Thursday, that's when you increase the weight on the next time you're going to go back in and do that same exercise, but not before that point. Because oftentimes what ends up happening is that you try to do too much progression too quickly, and that's when you burn out, or that's when you get the injury. So that's why you want to keep it really steady and consistent uptrend as opposed to just doing a quick jump. And then for the second part here with the cardio, if you can add 5 minutes to the end of your cardio session on 2 separate workout days, the same thing. So say Monday and Wednesday, you can do 5x, or Monday and Wednesday workout. On Monday and Wednesday, you can add 5 minutes to the end of the workout. You can either increase the cardio by another 5 minutes. So let's say you were doing 20 minutes, now you up it to 25 on the next week, or you can increase the speed / intensity of the cardio for that set amount of time. So let's say you only do 20 minutes, you can increase the speed or intensity by at least 5% and keep implementing that over time as you keep getting better. And that's the rule of progression procedure, or rule of 2 progression procedure.
Okay, so it just means that, you don't go straight to the new high rep or high weight unless you do it steady and, well, it's progressive, like,
Yeah,
it's a method.
It's really slow and progressive. That way you're not just completely just doing
That's
too big of a jump.
That's very useful actually to know, especially I feel like this is very, very convenient for, especially for like strength training, so you don't get injured in the process of like creating more strength. So I like that. For cardio, it can be applicable if you want to run faster, but I feel like this one preventing injuries are going to play a huge role. And I think that's what it is for. Cool. All right, let's finish up with finance. Should you ever go into debt?
Oof. So that's really going to be dependent on the person, right? And the debt type. A lot of people, especially students, they always take on student debt or student loans in order to pay off your school. So, shit. It depends on the debt. I can't really tell you I can tell you which ones are good and bad, but it depends on like the circumstances of your life if you need to take on the debt or not. Business debt, right? School debt, housing debt. If you're going to take on a mortgage, right? That's obviously you're going to be in debt. So it depends on the type.
Yeah, I had said there's a good debt and there's bad debt. So depending on the debt that you are about to take or encounter, you should definitely avoid as much as you can taking on debt because it's really bad. But here comes a but. If you're young, if you're like 18 years old, I would recommend taking like a small debt on something. Let's say you want to buy something new or go to college or pay your tuition, get a credit card and get some debt on that, but make sure that you have the money aside to pay off the debt as soon as you can, because it's good in order for you to increase your credit score if you want to see like a major increase. Because like I said, everybody has a credit score, but it's not easy to build up. So you usually want to be on the range of 750 to 800. That's excellent credit score. So you want to start building it, especially if you have plans for, let's say, mid 20s or like late 20s to buy a house or to buy a car. You need this credit. So here in the US, it's kind of fucked up. We have to do that. But in order to increase your score, in order to have a better credit, you actually need to take on debt. So yeah, so like Randy mentioned, there are different types of debts, and also depending on where you are in life. So whether you're a student, whether you're already, graduated or already working full time, it's good to go into certain types of debt in order to increase your credit score, in order to increase pretty much the amount that banks are going to be willing to lend you. That is not recommendable if it's just for some bullshit that you want to buy, such as wines.
Well,
Or like, let's say you having a crisis like I was having the other day, and you want to buy a motorcycle and you just want to go into debt to buy that. That's not recommendable. So don't go into debt because you just want to get something at the moment, but you cannot afford it. Go into debt that you know that you can afford and something that you need. For example, education is something that I wouldn't necessarily say you need, but it's something that you want to go and it's actually beneficial for you, like as a person. Then it's good debt. Whether it's a couple $1,000, whether it's 10 grand, you know that your education itself is going to be an investment and you can pay it off later on. So this type of debts, you're going to put the pros and cons, whether whether you see in the long term and you can pay it off or not. But like, once again, if you are young, if you're like 18, you're just getting started with credit, I would recommend to taking some sort of that, maybe like 1K or something, but
yeah,
something
something like that's manageable. But it's like once you start getting into like six figures, that's and
yeah,
high five figures, that's a problem because
that's
it's
a
going to
big
take you a while to pay that back, and there's always interest rates, so that's always just going to compound over time. So you
yeah.
definitely want to be diligent about the debt that you're taking on, and especially the amount. Do something manageable. Again, if you want to increase your credit score, which is definitely recommended, take on something light, something that you should be able to immediately pay that off, but you're going to slowly pay it off just simply because it's beneficial for your debt, or rather for your credit score.
Free credit score.
That's the only reason. If you don't have the money, then you should definitely not be trying to buy something that expensive. And always appreciating assets as well, right? Like your education is an appreciating asset because if you do good with it, then obviously you can make more money off of it and you can pay off the debt and make more, or a house or some sort of asset, again, that makes you money. But if you go out of your way to just buy a really expensive car for the sake of buying an expensive car, that's not really going to help you.
Cars are always going to be a liability. They're not an asset. No matter how many people are going to tell you they're an asset, even if it's for your business, they're going to be a liability. All right, because there's so much money you had to put into it. Take it from somebody who owns a car, and
You take it from somebody that doesn't own a car and is not owning a car simply because I know how much of a liability it is.
yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, let's move on to the last thing of the day, which will be news updates. On my end, Warren Buffett actually did a what is it called? Uh, um, was on Oracle's panel. He said something. He gave a message to the Congress that we need a fucking stimulus, not check, a stimulus package, because our small businesses are suffering, and it's gonna be the end of them if we don't have a resolutions before the end of the year. A lot of small businesses are gonna go bankruptcy. All right,
Mhm.
that's one. Um, doo, 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 doo. Oh, yesterday was a really good day for Apple, and a good
Yeah,
day as
that's
well.
crazy, Ron.
Yeah, I was still holding my options positions with Apple, and god damn, it went to the roof. I think I'm gonna start looking more into options trading because
You locked in profits, right?
I locked in profits. Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go, baby.
I was
What was
on it.
that? Almost a 200% return.
200% return. Yeah, like a
That's
little
good
bit more.
stuff.
Yeah, it was like 1,000 and something. It
Mhm.
was good money for 2 shares. I mean, 2 options. That wasn't bad. But anyways, moving on. Big tech versus the EU round. We are losing count because there being so many back and forth over there. Like I mentioned, EU has a new policy against Facebook, Google, and the big tech over there that they need to regulate. So they've been back and forth. And yesterday was another round of that. Um, Now we have the major. I don't think that's important. Do-do-do. Christmas is coming, guys. I haven't started doing my Christmas shoppings yet, but we
Oof,
have the
we're getting there, bro.
the FDA said Modernans. Oh yeah, Modernans COVID-19 vaccine got approved yesterday.
Oh,
So it go well. It hasn't been approved. It was the FDA said the Moderna is effective and safe in a detailed analysis, but it might get approved by the end of this weekend.
okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. That's pretty much it.
All right. For my end, nothing's really changed. I ended up dropping my Tesla position, which not really too much of a surprise, but I was planning on holding it a little bit longer. But simply because I saw a better opportunity in Neo, I dumped that, and now I have more capital available to kind of maneuver with Neo. Again, all these companies they're going to continue to go up simply because that's where the
Yeah.
future is going.
Neo was up yesterday from its lowest of the last week, which was like
Yep.
30 or 39.
30, yeah, like high 38s, and then bounce right back. And right now we're going right back up, still up in the pre-market. Again, this is a really big company in China, and it's just going to continue to grow. So I would assume that as of right now, it's still a good investment, and it will continue to be a good investment moving forward. Most of these electric car companies are, and additionally, there's a lot of hype behind them. So you always have that.
Absolutely.
And that's it. There's nothing else to really talk about. We're still waiting on the stimulus to wrap up, the stimulus talks to see if we get anything.
Oh yeah, another good trade for me was gold yesterday. So it was a commodity. It was up yesterday, really good. I took a really good position as it began the day, and yeah, here am I, still swing trading gold. But we will see you next week because it's getting a little bit lengthy next week.
No, let's cut it off right now.
See you tomorrow. This is
Deuces.